All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Vays. Coming to you live. It's about 11:40 Eastern time. So the markets are fully open. So we will take a look at what the S&P 500 is doing along with Bitcoin, of course. So let's get to it. Audio should be much better now. Shouldn't be any audio complaints, I'm assuming. I am using the proper microphone system this time. I just set it up on this new workstation. All right, let's go to the charts. All right. Hey, welcome, guys. I see some moderators. JC, it's hard. Good job, guys. Thanks for hanging in there and continuing to help me with my work. Okay, monthly chart. Yeah, Happy New Year. New Year's coming. Audio's good, video is good. Sounds like you're in a bubble. Other people say it's good. All right. So here's the monthly chart. The monthly chart remains in a very, very nice bullish pattern. Dumb Money Media. I don't actually know what patent Reggie Middleton has. Next time I talk to him, I'll ask him. But I can't comment on something I don't know. Okay. So the good thing about a pattern like this is that it really pisses a lot of people off that it's not breaking out earlier. And this is why we could get stuck in this consolidation for another several months before the eventual break. Weekly chart. The weekly chart is not looking all that great. Today is already Thursday, so we're only halfway through this candle. But you can see how the moving averages are becoming a bit nasty. And the moving average structure was not this bad, even back here. You see back here, the short-term moving average in a weekly never crossed the long-term, which is the 50 period. That's the 7, that's the 50. But now they're going to cross in a couple of weeks, unless there is a drastic swing to the upside. But I don't really see a reason it would drastically swing to the upside. It can, but I don't see a TA reason. So that could create a very pessimistic situation. And yet I'm still intermediate to long-term bullish on Bitcoin. Short-term, however, we are sticking with our cash position. As you can see, the full cash position was entered at approximately current price. But the removal of the 100% long position started way above that, right? So even at 60,000, the 100% bullish position was reduced to 75. Then at about 57,000, it was reduced down to 40-50%. And not at the bottom of the crash, but somewhere in the middle of this crash, around 52,000, it was reduced to 20-33%, and finally to complete cash at approximately current price. Okay, the reason why that happened is because of this catastrophic drop, and you can't panic in a you can't panic and you can't FOMO. And this is why this moving average chart allows us to slowly enter and exit out of Bitcoin. You can see how the short-term moving average may not get a chance to cross over the medium-term moving average if we hold current price. We have 1.5 days left in current candle, and I still anticipate this kind of weird move where Bitcoin bounces a bit in the middle of nowhere. There's absolutely no technical reason for this to happen. So I'm going to be watching this very, very carefully because I am fundamentally bullish on Bitcoin going into Q1. So at some point it should reverse, but I have no idea when and I have no idea where. But this chart will remain in all cash until the short-term moving average starts to cross above the intermediate-term moving average. It's very, very simple. And if the long-term moving average turns down, that also changes things quite a bit because now there's a possibility of short positions. In addition to that, the allocation back into the bullish zone is going to be at a slower rate if the long-term moving average is declining, but we'll keep an eye on that. Hey guys, come out to Las Vegas for the Unconfiscatable Bitcoin Conference. It is a Bitcoin, not blockchain conference. And it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. You can see the general agenda right there. You can see what we're going to be doing. You see all the speakers. We're tweeting out the speakers one by one. Those are past speakers. Unfortunately, many of them cannot enter the US due to the vaccine mandate, which is also unfortunate. You can see our little Bitcoin logos for where the events are taking place. The conference, the carnivory dinner, the after party, the works. All right. And you can see some of the videos from last year or 2 years ago now. You can see the poker game and everything. All right, guys, let's move on with the price charts. Yesterday, or earlier today, I guess, but generally yesterday, we fell below the 200-day moving average. That is very, very unfortunate. I left this arrow here, but I don't really see all that much that would be driving Bitcoin right now into this depth cross, which will take place in 2 days. There will be nothing Bitcoin can do to avoid this. Unless Bitcoin goes to $70,000 tomorrow, there's absolutely nothing Bitcoin can do to avoid this cross. Okay, 70,000 tomorrow and then 150,000 the next day. And even that probably won't do it. So this depth cross is going to happen. I kind of thought Bitcoin had the strength to rally into this cross, but I don't really think it will. I don't really think it will. All right, Dumb Money Media. Thank you again for your super chat and your question. Great YouTube name, by the way. Okay, so let me answer your question real quick. Reggie's patent is basically for all DeFi transactions. It would be awesome if you did an interview with him to discuss it. Happy New Year. Yeah, so here's the thing, right? I know DeFi is only decentralized in name only. There's really no decentralization in DeFi, but all the fools using DeFi believe that DeFi is decentralized. So they couldn't care less who Reggie Middleton is. They couldn't care less what his patent is. Reggie Middleton will not, I don't believe Reggie Middleton will have the resources to enforce and defend his patent. That's it. It's that simple. I mean, you're going to go after what? Every frog on Twitter? Like what are you going to do? How are you going to enforce it? So next time I have Reggie Middleton on, or we're in spaces together, I'm trying to do spaces. The problem is my phone is crashing every time I speak in spaces. So I don't know what to do here. I may have to get another phone, but since I just paid $1,600 for a phone less than a year ago, I don't really want to buy a new phone. But it just doesn't work with spaces. Like I don't know what it is. Maybe Twitter is blocking me or something. I have no idea. Just like crashes, like the Twitter app crashes every time I speak in space. That's why I run into Reggie all the time. Someone is asking, where would I turn bearish on mid and long term? That's a really good question. Oh, let's look at So I would turn bearish if we, in this case, because of this consolidation, I would need the break of the prior swing low. And I know it sounds kind of silly, but I would literally need the break of the prior swing low, which would also be the break of the intermediate monthly moving average. So I would literally need Bitcoin below $35,000 to turn mid to long-term bearish. But there's a huge contradiction there, because if Bitcoin does fall that low, it's at a pretty significant low, and going bearish at that point makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So this is why there's almost nothing that can happen right now in this current structure that would make me intermediate to long-term bearish. There's almost nothing. We're in a pretty bullish cycle environment. The halving cycle environment, we're bullish. The on-chain stuff that Willy Woo does is very bullish. Well, like everything is kind of bullish. So it's almost impossible to turn bearish. It's a very different situation because back here, there was a ridiculous exponential run-up. And even here, there was a ridiculous exponential run-up. And you can say, well, what about here? There was also a ridiculous exponential run-up, but it wasn't as ridiculous as the other two. This one also broke the prior all-time high after like a 3-year wait. That's a long time, almost 4 years, right? We can see how many, like this was December 2017, and this was November of 2020. Yeah, that's three years, okay? Exactly 3 years. That's a 3-year delay. And after that, you know, we've been consolidating, so it's frustrating people even more. It's very unlikely I will turn bearish, like very unlikely. We would need a much higher exponential run-up first for me to turn bearish. Or a descending triangle like this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being bearish right there when these moving averages are about to cross. Like these moving averages don't cross very often. Okay. But here we are, again, on reasonable exponential run-up. You can be bearish here, or you can be bearish going into the break of the next moving average or going into the crossover. Like you can still be bearish at these levels. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being bearish all throughout and then finally going bullish at the cross, at the moving average cross. All right. So you get in at 350 while everyone is making fun of you. Why didn't you buy the perfect low at 150? No, well, not everyone can, right? But if you bought at 300 right here and went 2x, you could have lost it all right there a month later. And now you have no money. But buying here at 350 creates a perfect buying opportunity for the run-up. And there's also nothing wrong with buying over here at the crossover, right? But you still have to be prepared because I didn't like this run-up. So here we actually fell like 70%, right? You get in at 8,000 and then you fall down to 4, no, still 50% again, right? So you got to be careful, but the moving averages never crossed again. So these moving average crossovers are really significant. They never crossed back again. So until these moving averages cross over, like I'm not really bearish. Now, if we consolidate for way too long, if we consolidate, you know, into 2023, that could be problematic. And then there could be a bit of a crash, and then everyone thinks Bitcoin is dead, and then it like rises like the phoenix. Well, that's a good question. All cash is not bearish. 100% short's bearish, right? Tyler Jenks used to say this all the time. There is long, there is short, and there is cash. People always underestimate a cash position. There's nothing bearish about a cash position. With that cash ready to be deployed in Bitcoin as a trade. There's also a difference between a trader and a hodler. A hodler would not be holding any cash, right? This channel is for traders. It's not for hodlers. I've explained this before. We can do a channel for hodlers. I I can start a channel. I can open Swan. I can buy $50 worth of Bitcoin, and then the show ends, right? That's a hodler show. That's it. It's over. Like, I can do a show every day on dollar cost average. I can also record one show on dollar cost average and then automatically do a live stream on a pre-recorded show every day. I mean, there's nothing interesting about that. This is why we have the news shows and all the other shows saying why you need to buy Bitcoin. This is for traders. Now, if you are a real serious trader, come join us at the Financial Summit. By the way, if you open up this link, you see an awesome video of our last event. This was the last Financial Summit. Had a trading competition, had a great time, lots of cool people, absolutely awesome. Great dinners, great food, awesome spot that they had there. There was a yacht. These are the rooms. It's really cool. So come join us at the next one, which is in the Dominican Republic at this castle. Okay, let's talk about short term, real short term. Well, the daily is not real short term, but look, we have a candle below the 200-day moving average. The situation here is weaker than the situation here. There is a decent chance that we're going to break these lows before we turn the whole mess around. So we got to be real careful here with this daily chart. Here is our 1 hour chart. Notice how the 1 hour chart topped with the MRI absolutely perfectly. The bottom in the MRI did not bounce the market. It doesn't work all the time. It worked here. It worked here. It didn't work here, but it worked here, at least for a little while. At least it stopped the catastrophe. And then you get a red star candle, and it tells you that, hey, you know what? Did not have enough strength to rally all the way up. We then crashed late last night, down all the way down to 46.6. And this is nice, but not great. The 1 hour chart is not very useful right now. Let's see if the 4 hour chart is better. The 4 hour chart is a little bit better. I really like this candle, this hammer nature of the candle. Also, the 4 hour chart gave you a nice buy right here as well. The 4 hour and a 1 hour buy, and it's consolidating. I know this wick kind of sucks, but look where it bounced. It bounced perfectly off the MRI support. And here's your problem. Your problem is these moving averages. We don't need this anymore. It's cluttering the chart. We don't need this anymore. It's cluttering the chart. This arrow that perfectly worked out, we also don't need anymore. So where to from here? I do like this strong bounce, you know, kind of showing the short sellers what's up. But this moving average is going to be a big problem. All of these moving averages are going to be a big problem. So I see Bitcoin having a lot of struggle breaking $49,000. And I do think it is very likely to make a new swing low, which is why we have a cash position as a trading position. As a hodler, as a dollar cost averager, keep stacking. Just keep stacking. All right, let's look at other markets. Obviously, the premium is still down. Can't wait for next year. I get to deploy more money in my Roth IRA to take advantage of this negative premium. I'm sure others will also try to beat me to it. Oil, I am very bullish on oil for new all-time highs. And now we have a green star candle on a weekly scale. Gold, I totally couldn't care less about. S&P hit a brand new all-time high yesterday. I remained bullish on the S&P 500, even though no one knows what's up with the president. The latest news on Twitter go to the home screen, is Biden will do whatever Fauci tells him. Oh yeah, I mean, like 1 billion plastic masks in the ocean, I'm sure is very good for the environment. It's the by the way, the same people that are pushing masks also push the whole climate change, and now we have 1 billion masks floating around the ocean. Great job, guys. Germany is shutting down all their nuclear power. Oh, that's great. Now Putin can just cut off the natural gas going to Germany and watch them all freeze to death. That's great. If Putin wants to, if they piss him off with NATO and Ukraine. Great job, Germany. Oh yeah, PCR tests don't work, but we knew that. Nice for CDC to finally admit it. I love the Babylon Bee. Oh, they're so awesome. All right, I'm looking for, who's this? Oh, Hugh Jackman. Oh, nice. What was I looking for? Oh yeah, Biden announced that if Fauci tells him that domestic travel in the U.S. Needs a vaccine, then that's what the domestic travel in the U.S. will be. The United States president doesn't make a lot of money. I think the president's salary is $400,000. You don't become president or a senator or a congressman to make a salary. You do that so you can do insider trading without anyone saying anything. This is how Nancy Pelosi is the greatest trader in world history, basically. I think her net worth is like 200 million or something like that on a $170,000 salary. Yeah, that's pretty good. All that from trading, because she knows, what the government contracts will be and which company will be shut down. Okay, so where are we here? I mean, if you think the president should make more money, just give him yours. I mean, it's like no one is stopping you, right? Like, like no one is stopping you from paying more taxes than you have to, right? Like the IRS is actually, if you do overpay, they do send you a check back. But no one is stopping you from giving this money to a federal employee. Actually, no, they kind of are, because then it becomes bribes, right? So here's the stock market. I remain bullish. I know these arrows seem kind of weird, like from one spot, they're going up and down. But that's what happens when you're breaking critical support. Start to consider lower possibility. But I've always been overall bullish on the stock market for over a decade now. Over a decade, I've been bullish on the stock market. I see no reason to stop being bullish on the stock market. I think that the S&P is going to go to $12,000, at least 10,000 points, not dollars, whatever. I still see the current environment as a repeat of the 80s and 90s, a 20-year upswing. And we are right now in like year 13 of a 20-year upswing. And then it ends in some kind of ridiculous catastrophe, right? Like, kind of like that. That's going to be brutal. That's going to be brutal. Probably coincide with the split of the United States. What event would make you bearish on the S&P? Pretty much a breakup of the United States. You see, you guys have to realize that the S&P rises with inflation. It's rising with inflation. It's also rising with the fact that governments are destroying all businesses that aren't in the S&P 500. If your business is not in the S&P 500, it's being destroyed by the government, by mandates and shutdowns and destroying the economy basically. So everything is designed to pump the market. So the only way it would actually crash if there's a real catastrophe to the S&P itself, basically. And the only event that can trigger such a collapse is like a split of the United States, peaceful or violent. Even if it's peaceful, which will probably be, it's not going to be like the 1850s. It's not going to be like the Civil War that we had in the U.S. If the U.S. breaks up, it is going to be more like the Czechoslovakia version of a breakup than the Yugoslavia version of the breakup. The Yugoslavia breakup was very bloody. The Czechoslovakia version was, leaders sat down in a room and said, we need to split the country before it gets violent. And that's what the US, I believe, is going to do. Leaders will sit down at a table and say, we need to split the country before the people on the right and people on the left start actually killing each other. Okay? People on the right are a little less pro-vaccine. They are less wearing a face mask. They're more pro-gun. They're more religiously inclined. Those are the people on the right. And the clash between the people on the right is becoming very nasty with the people on the left. Now, notice that I didn't say that the people on the right are necessarily more racist than the people on the left. I don't believe that is true. I think there are plenty of racist people on the left. They pretend that they're not, but they are. I don't see a big divide there, personally. But that could also be a bias. That's also because I'm mostly surrounded by people on the right. And in my circles, I don't feel that any people are racist, but my opinion. I know what happens when you go to like rural Alabama. But also remember, there is a lot of people on the left that hate white people, which is also racist. So it evens out. So that could be the catastrophe. But before we get to that catastrophe, I think the market is going to explode to the upside. No, I think the country is going to split in 3 or 4. I don't think it's going to split in 2 because there's enough division there. There's enough division in the US that splitting it 2 ways will not work. Again, it'll be a combination of the Yugoslavia split and Czechoslovakia split. Czechoslovakia split in 2 because there was 2 different types of people in Czechoslovakia. Yugoslavia split into 4. I think it was 4. It might have been 3, but I think it was 4. So I think the US is going to split into 3 to 5 countries. 3 to 5 countries. Why is it that all top companies are NASDAQ companies? But that should be a common sense answer, right? The reason why all top companies are NASDAQ companies is because of this invention called internet. And if your company is not on the internet, your company will probably die. I mean, even cars need to be connected to the internet now. So it's the internet companies that is the next technological wave. So of course, the top companies are going to be in the NASDAQ. So I don't understand why people think it's so crazy for the United States to split up. Like borders always change. Borders are changing all the time. Every single year, at least one border somewhere in the world changes. This is not like a new phenomenon that like all of a sudden, like borders changed all the time. Like Hong Kong is now China. Taiwan is about to be China. Part of Ukraine may very soon be Russia. Part of Georgia may very well be Russia very soon. You know, Europe is about to do away completely with sovereignty for any nation. So it could like Europe could be the new United States. Like even taking away all rights from Italy and Spain and whatever, it's almost there. It's almost there. It's on the brink. Of Europe becoming this one single totalitarian nation ruled by unelected politicians. No one elected rules Europe. They're all unelected. There isn't a single elected politician that runs Europe. They don't exist. Like there's no democratic or republic process in Europe. Like you think you elect someone, but like they don't do anything. Maybe the German chancellor has some say in things, but it ends right there. I know the French chancellor thinks he has some kind of power. He has absolutely zero. No, it'll be very difficult for China to maintain control in a nation not bordering China. It'd be very difficult. Like, but let's see what happens. Let's see after China completely takes over Hong Kong and completely takes over Taiwan. They'll take Macau. That's easy. That's literally on their land. And the next challenge for China, I think. Well, let's see if they try to take Singapore. See, the problem is who's going to stop them? Who's going to stop them? Putin doesn't care. So who's going to stop them? If China does manage to take Singapore by the end of the decade, then they'll just take everything in between. I mean, taking Taiwan does not prove China's dominance. It doesn't. Like, because half the world sees Taiwan as China's territory anyway, right? That's why no one really cares. But China taking a nation that has nothing to actually do with China, but a nation that does speak Chinese, that is very interesting, right? That shows the world that nobody can stop China. Oh yeah, no. India has a big nuclear arsenal, so that's why China can't take India. India also has more people than China. So yeah, but India is going to defend themselves. They're not going to defend Singapore. Like China needs to prove to the world that they have the best military. And taking Taiwan doesn't prove that, like at all. So they need to make a bigger splash at some point in the next decade. People are saying China's military is a joke. It might be. I've heard both sides. See, here's the thing: we don't know. The thing is, we don't know. We don't know if China's military is a joke or China's military is great. We have absolutely no idea. We know Russia's military is pretty damn good. We know that. And American military is becoming a joke. Afghanistan proved it, right? So a foreign nation needs to show America that they have a better military. Putin doesn't need to do it, but China kind of does. So if China does have a better military than the US, at some point, they need to let the world know. And if they don't have a better military than the US, then they'll just take Hong Kong and Taiwan and threaten to take something that they feel that the world feels doesn't belong to them, but never actually do it. Yugoslavia split to 6, or split to 4. Anyway, it's getting political again. But that's what I think will happen. That's what I think will happen. Now, India's got a shot to be very independent in the next decade, but if they can get their shit together and eliminate some bureaucracy, and Latin America has a lot of high potential, especially if Latin America starts adopting Bitcoin. Oh yeah, Macedonia and Montenegro. Let's forget about those two. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I always forget about those two. All right, guys, that is it. That is it for the show. The charts don't look good, but that's why we stay in cash. Come out to Unconfiscatable, our Bitcoin conference. And the Financial Summit. Coming to the Dominican Republic. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. And I will see you all on the next one. Bye, guys.